This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, hello, everyone. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. And our goal always on AuthorU is to really show you how to take your book, your authoring, yourself, your publishing to the next level. And one of the courses that I teach, I do it both online and in person in my offices in Colorado, is how to write a book in 4 weeks. Now, there's a lot of courses out here that talk about how to write a book in 4 weeks or a month or 3 days or 90 days or fill in the blank. 90 days is more realistic of having a book from draft to really more polished, and we're talking nonfiction, and we're talking a short book. That for my 4-week course is to get your title nailed down, to get you your draft up and running so you have something to work with, and then you start fine-tuning and editing. So I think it's false when someone says, oh yeah, you're going to write a book in 3 days, in 90 hours, and fill in the blank, and have a polished book. What you're going to have is usually a piece of crap. So I don't want you to go there. But here's what happened out of the course. I started next month and fine-tuning. And it really was seated at my event that I do every June called Judith Briles Book Publishing Unplugged. And I purposely did not go into a full-blown module on how to create a speech on your book because I am going to be doing Judith Briles Speaking Unplugged, which will be a very 2-day intensive in November here in Denver, where I am going to really walk you through crafting a speech, identifying stories, facts, stats, fill in the blank, that will fit each one of your key points, and have you come out ready to actually start booking and show you how to do that. So I kissed it, I kissed it. And someone said, when are you going to write the book on how to do this? Well, there's always other books out there, but certainly not with my tweak, my kind of twist to things and how I did it. So in the works and in the How to Write a Book in 4 Weeks, I actually outlined the whole thing and where to go with it. And I've actually got a few polished, finished chapters. And one of the things that's going to be in it is how to create a live event around you, around your expertise, and really why you should. So what is it? And what you want to think about is if creating a live event, and this is what my unplugged events are. It's live. It's 2 and 3 days of just me, intense me, kind of like a deep dive, maybe scary, into my brain and how I work and how I do things and how I have been successful in publishing and certainly in the speaking field. So on my descriptors, on my one sheet, it does say that between a combined of when I speak over the years, my speaking and my writing, that the authoring and the books I've done, and my speaking has always been on the books that I've done. And let me just side note, this can work with a fiction or nonfiction. I mean, there are some very successful fiction authors who are out speaking to book clubs, whether it's online or in person. I mean, one of my colleagues, Mara Pearl, has created a wonderful, successful event where she takes it around the country, and it's having high tea with Mara and the characters from her Milford Haven series. And that people, women, primarily women, flock to them, pay money to attend. They buy her books, and it's very, very successful. All right, so I went the other way. I didn't do high tea. I spoke at associations, and within the last 20 years was exclusively healthcare, because I was writing about toxic behavior in healthcare. And I can tell you, from the late 80s through the 2000s, that I've accumulated between books and paid speaking gigs, created $5 million. So if that's something you want to do, and, $5 million's a lot, putting kids through schools, families, all those kind of things, but I made a living by the words I wrote and by the mouth, the way I spoke. And so what we've got going on here is that we're able to show you how to do this, how to create this on your own and take it from there. And if that sounds like something that you would like to do, that is up your alley, then this is where you want to be, and listen in to what we're doing. So I'm not doing a full-blown on speaking per se today. I'm talking about in the speaking arena, in creating the live event. And that's what I want to show you how to do. And it's very, very exciting to go down that path. So if you're game, you're going to travel with me, and I'm going to focus on this component of one of them is really creating a live event. Creating a live event that you can use to take you to another level of your own success, and where you can go with that. And if that sounds like something you might want to do, I'm going to play with you today. So as we go through this, I'm going to just, creating a live event and doing them on an ongoing basis creates super fans, those who really love you and your work, for you and whatever you're selling and represent. In other words, you become an influencer in your niche, in your area of expertise, in your genre, and that's what it's about. So kind of think of it like this, it's like hot spit, one of my favorite phrases. And people say, where did that come from? It came from Jackie Kennedy when she was so excited about a book that she brought in as an editor. She would say hot spit. And I thought, that's perfect. All right. So you've generated, let's go and how we kind of create this event. You've generated following friends. You've got tribes of individuals who connect with you via email or one of your social media platforms. They look forward to all the sage advice, your zangy sayings, maybe your quotes, and they want more. They want you. A day or a few with just you, or maybe you and a few others who could add to their knowledge base. So that's the why of it. Now, the should is, in thinking about it, use your expertise to enhance followers and followers to be is a really smart thing to do. And that, we're in a click environment, but I want you to start thinking clicks and bricks. Click, yes, do stuff online. You can do webinars. You can do live Facebook events. You can do Google Hangouts. Is that your thing? You can create online events that you can create that people could buy for an ongoing. But think about the bricks. Bring them into a facility. Now, it could be, it could be a church. It could be a conference room somewhere that you have access to. I usually use hotels because people who know me know that I feed them. So I have stuff in the morning, and by golly, I'm going to feed you lunch. I don't want you to go out wandering around and have to do it. I like to keep the community together because they kind of develop their own thing with each other. Fans become friends with each other. And this is the way when you do a brick event, this is where you can get buzz starting and it really gets going. And it does then go viral and go out long. So these super fans, they become your marching marketers. I mean, think about that. Imagine it. How cool really is that, to think about having a bunch of marching marketers out in you and what you're doing. So I kind of love that. And that with marching marketers, that they shout out through their own social media streams that you and your products are the best of the best. Go get them. Very cool. Hot spit. Now, what's the how? If you're ready to kind of jump into this, we're going to kind of probe through a variety of areas and continue it on through our hour together. And of course, we have a couple of breaks, as we always do. So if you're ready and if you're game, where do you start? And that's always an important question. You know, as someone who's created from scratch live events for both small, very small, maybe 5 or 6 that I'm really doing some intense training and teaching, to huge groups, it's an ongoing learning experience. I've done my own with just me, and I've done events that include over 20 other speakers. Next month, live event coming up is the AuthorU Extravaganza, held every September in Denver, Colorado. Come. There's a trade show. There's 20 publishing professional pros. You can get all the details and information right now at AuthorU, as in the letter U, AuthorUextravaganza.org. And I'd love to see you. All right. Now, why doing a live event? I've done them where people pay. I've done them for free admission. I've done them with exhibitors. I've done them with no exhibitors. But the bottom line is people like to get connected. And I'm telling you, they like to get away from where they normally are. So it can be a little retreat. It can be 3 days, and like Denver, Colorado is pretty sensational in September. So maybe they do some add-on things and go up into the mountains. If I did in the winter, maybe they would be skiers. I do a live event in January every year, which is called Publishing at Sea, and you can get information on that at publishingatsea.com. And that is, you know, very set schedule. There's actually 18 hours of instruction. I carry a faculty with me. When we're in port, people get to play. I don't want to see them unless I'm playing with them. But it's sea days, they're mine. And 6 hours I spend with them, the 3 sea days during the week. So you kind of think, okay, where do I want to be? Where do I want to go? Do I want to bring them into my location, or am I willing to travel to some place? I'll be in Guadalajara, Mexico, in November, doing a live 2-day event. So I will go and take my mind and my mouth to the people who are there. So you have to think of how you're going to do it, what your structure is. But remember, the bottom line, it's called engagement. It's engagement for you. For online events, they may be engagement if set up ahead of time, sometimes with a special face-to-face with them, but usually it's a little bit more remote. All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back to and give you some awesome tips on how to put together a rock live event. This is AuthorU, your guide to book publishing, and I'm Judith Briles, your book shepherd.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has possession pizzazz, punch, and panache. AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Welcome back to Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, Your Guide to Book Publishing, Everything You Want to Know but Didn't Know What to Ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Remember, authoring and publishing can be a lonely number. One of my goals for all the Unplugged events is to seed a community of like-minded authors who desire success. When you create a live event for whatever your niche, your expertise, your genre is about, that you're gathering like-minded individuals up. And how you write your copy, that you will you'll be doing this online, although you can create postcards and you could create flyers and mail them out. I am a huge believer in the postcard. Now you may want to go to a bigger size, a 4x6, 5x7 postcard where you can get all, really essential details. That's going to cost you it could be 2 postage stamps to shoot the bigger ones out, depends upon the weight as you do it. But that you communicate and that people, and the reason why I brought up postcards, people like postcards. Number one, they don't have to open the envelope. I know it's hard work, but they don't have to open it. 2, they hold on to them. They hang up, they keep them as a reminder. They're colorful. They'll prop them up on their desk, or they could put them in the kitchen. Who knows where to remind them, I'm thinking about this. I'm still thinking about this. And that there is less snail mail. So you don't have a lot of competition because so much goes out online today. So that's one of the ways that I would, think about doing a little communicating and doing a reaching out and going in that direction. So tips. Start with your topic. So what are you going to do? What are you going to start with? Think of your influencer, again, of your genre, your expertise, and you're going to be the thought leader in putting this all together. What's it going to be around? For me, as I've shared before, I always say stay with what I know, my expertise, which is book publishing and working with authors. So for my book publishing unplugged and for the speaking unplugged, it's just going to be me. For the AuthorU-Extravaganza.org and the publishingatc.com, I have faculty. So I'm part of it. We're a team, but we're very cohesive as we do it. So start with your topic. What do you want to share? Start with you want to share. Now, next, you need to determine how you want to deliver your event. And you've got all kinds of methods that you can play around here with it. Now, they're in this variety of formats. Some are designed for just a handful of people. Some can be unlimited. Some are over the phone. Some via computer. Some using YouTube. Some via live streaming. Some in person. You may prefer one over the other, or you might like to mix them up. So let's kind of look at webinars right now. You're listening to this usually as a podcast. So you're streaming it somewhere. Is it on your tablet? Is it on your mobile? Is it via your computer? Are you in your car and you downloaded it that way? I mean, how are you listening to it? All right, so you could be just a talking streaming event that you're not showing visuals. And you can use a variety of tools that are available. And you can just simply Google how to stream an event and see what pops up. You could be doing a webinar, and webinars, which can be also viewed on a mobile, on your computer. And I do a lot of webinars. They can be info only. They can be actually pitching a product or a service, or it can be a combo. You can actually host an event with someone else, or you could tag team it and put it together. You can charge for them, or you can do them free. Usually free webinars it would be the ones that people would do that would be tied in with a pitch that would go with it, that you'd hope people would buy product. If you get other people to be like a sponsor of your webinar, that here's typically what happens. If you have a product, let's say you have a product for $97, or 7 seems to be it, whether it's 97, 197, 297, 397, whatever the 97 is, that the host, the sponsor who has sent it out to his or her email list and got butts in the viewing seat, the listening seat for the webinar, will get half of whatever the product is. So if it's a $97 product, they're going to get, around $47 in that area, whatever half of 97 is, and 50 cents. They're going to get halves of those amounts of money. If it's 197, now we're talking $98. So, it's an incentive for the people who is the co-sponsor to get people there. And it's an incentive for the person who is actually delivering the webinar, which could be you, to do a stellar job. And let me also say this, because I've said this before on some of the other podcasts that I've done, is that a lot of times people, especially if they're in psychology-related basis and they're talking about an experience they've had and they've written it up, in that, they don't have whether it's an MSW or a PhD or a psychology degree or fill in the blank, they kind of feel that sometimes they don't have the right credentials. And let me just say this, and business, maybe you don't have an MBA, but you really know how to run a business. That I don't care if you have an MBA or a PhD. That is irrelevant to me. What I want you to be is GOOD. Those are the credentials I'm looking for. What's your life experience that really brings you to the party, that makes you the expert? That has far more clout when I'm looking at someone I'm trying to learn from in the process. So on webinars, they can be info only, pitch oriented, or they can be a combo. Now, you can also think about doing a pick my brain or a topic over a teleconference that people just call in. Every Monday morning, individuals who are members of the AuthorU.org organization, it's a membership association for authors, and we'd love to have you as members. They have the ability to pick my brain. Every Monday at what time is it? It's every Monday at noon Eastern. I literally do a free coaching for our members, and they call in. It's a teleconference type thing, and they can call in and just ask away questions. You can also do a teleconference that could be exclusively over you do your topic, maybe you do your webinar, but you just do it orally without the visuals that go with slides and things. You can do it that way. You can do that for free, or you can do it for fee. Now, when you're looking at free or fee, that I think it's a good idea to do some free stuff. There's so much stuff that comes across, buy this, buy that. It's almost overwhelming. That I think is just say it's a thank you. If I'm going to do this for free for you. All right. Now, when of course to sign up, you want to do sign-ups because it's like on your website. You want to make sure that people, your website, has multiple functions. Number one, it supplies content for people who visit your website. Number two, it supplies, develops trust for people because you're giving good content. Number three, it's not stagnant. You update it on that. And number four, it's a place where you gather names and emails. All right. So if you're going to do stuff for free, you want to have a vehicle where you can gather up. They need to register for your free teleconference. They need to register for your free webinar. Now, the process I use, and there's a lot of them out there, I use GoToMeeting and I use GoToWebinar. And in my GoToWebinar, I can put up to 1,000 bodies in the virtual chair. So, and the other thing you need to realize, for the people are always going to ask, are you going to record it? We always record the webinars. You can record teleconferences. And listen, there's plenty of free services that give you free teleconferences. So take advantage of that. That's just a good idea to have. And do. So that's that. And then you can go into what we call the multi-hour workshop. The multi-hour workshop. And in the multi-hour workshop, that you can do a couple of hours, you can do half a day, you can do, a full day. Now, you can do, by the way, on a webinar, a multi-hour. Some of these, the summits that you see out there, they're all day and they're like every hour. They're all pre-recorded. I've participated in some of them. They're all pre-recorded and then they come on and people watch. And usually the day that it goes live, it's free. It's free. And it goes live. And then, but if those who don't catch it on the free, they have to pay. That's the fee part. And that's where people can make a lot of money. So it's all recorded and then available that people can download that session with that. So the multi-day workshop or conference is info only. You can be pitch oriented, or you can have the combination as with a regular webinar. Then you can switch over to another format. So we're going offline and we're going to go in person. And you can create weekly or monthly meetings. And a great tool to use is, like anywhere you are in the country, in the United States, and I don't know about global, but we have something called meetup.com. And first of all, you can go hang out and find out what's in your topic area. But how about starting your own meetup group? I think that's a good idea. And with Meetup, it can be shared information. It can be, again, bringing people together. Usually it's not a product pitch, but you can have it with that in there. And that it can be a lot of information. And I can tell you the AuthorU-Your group started with a meetup. And I'll give you that start and how it grew and what happened with it. We're going to take another quick break. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU-Your Guide to Book Publishing. And you are the author and are going to be successful at creating a live event.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing, Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, Meetup. I think it's a fabulous tool. It's very inexpensive. It creates a portal and a platform for you. And you go in and you describe it. You use what kind of graphics you want to throw in around the place for it. You can add videos, you can add visuals, but you're going to get a descriptor. You can rules. You can charge to be a member of a Meetup group. And you can make it free. Now, when I started the AuthorU group as a meetup, and how AuthorU started is I live in Colorado, as many of you know. I had a call from another publishing colleague and said, do you know this person who is just telling everyone just to write up your books and go just publish them up anywhere, Amazon, anywhere. No edit. You don't need to edit. You don't need to do that. And I just went, oh my God. Okay, I'm going to start my own group. And so how do you start a group? Well, I had a good friend of mine who was had a meetup group, and it was for singles. And with that, she had like 500 members. And I said, so Mary Jo, how do you start this thing? She says, well, just go to meetup.com and fill it out. So I said, well, let's brainstorm what idea. And we came up with AuthorU University, and now it's just AuthorU. So we came up with that. And then I wrote up a description and put it out, and then Meetup, because all your keywords you put in, publishing, writers, whatever, they shoot it out to all those other groups that have those in the keywords and make an announcement to not necessarily groups, to individuals who have indicated they're interested in publishing, writing, authoring, fill in the blank. And within a week, 40 people signed up for the group. And then I went, geez, now what do I do? So I thought, well, I'll just have a meeting. I'll have a welcome meeting. And that's how it started. And we went to a local restaurant that had a side room, and they didn't charge us the first, and then they started charging us. And then we started looking for other locations because it started growing, and we were turning it into an event. There was information. We actually were doing programs that were going on. So that's what happened. And then it countered, and we went into a full-blown membership with many, many hundreds of members all over the country. And then we created a LinkedIn group, and that grew from 60 people to over 16,000 people. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to understand that. It doesn't happen overnight. But there is a variety of things that we're doing. And we haven't done any live events. But now that I am saying this to you, I'm going to create it for the LinkedIn group where all our global members can tap in, and we'll make a live event just for them, which would be kind of cool. So I like that idea. Now, you also, that meetup, so take advantage of it. Remember, the magnet is going to be the keywords that you use to describe what your group is about. So you can start it and you can play with it before you announce it. It doesn't mean once you start it and get the ball going that you have to push the live button. You can come back and noodle it and put it together. So, and you can start creating then ongoing events. If you're going to keep it local, to wherever your location is, then meetup.com could be just ideal for you, really ideal. All right, next is this whole thing of how do you get people to come to your events? How do you bring them in and do them? So what you need to do is have your mail management list, whether it's an AWeber, Infusion, Constant Contact, MailChimp. There's so many out there that you can use. Well, companies like MailChimp and I think AWeber, that they will allow you to, and I think Constant Contact also has an ability for a certain number that you can have and not have to pay for their service, their tools. You may not get all the tools, but certainly they're the ones you need for the initial management. And that these are where you will upload your contacts. And it's actually elementary here and essential for you to start gathering names and emails. Now, if you're already with another service, you've already, got them there and they're already approved. You're not into the spammy stuff. But I would suggest that everywhere you go now, you have a clipboard. You can put your book cover on it, or your face or something on that, or, the title, and, join me for this, and get your name and the email. That's all you need, name and email. Now, make sure you put on that clipboard so they can read it, they see it, and say that you will be added to my special or primary or whatever word you want to use, or premier email list. And so they know from the get-go that they're now going to be added into the list. And that kind of covers your tush that this is all legitimate if something like MailChimp or AWeber came back and said, did these people sign up? Because you're going to enter in the names into the service. So you're going to do the announcements, and that I found that you do a general announcement. People wait till the frickin' last minute all the time on events. And they don't understand RSVP for some reason. So what I would do is, start announcing a couple of months out if you're there, or a month out. But as you get into the last 2 weeks, you put out an announcement. You're going to do this through social media as well, that there is 1 week left. And especially if you have a fee, or maybe if it's a free event, you're going to say that there are only 10 seats left. There are only 5 seats left. And that's the way you get your overflow. And you go in, and then maybe you get a waiting list. But that I know that when I went into, I always have an early bird for a fee. And I went, this is 3 days left for the early bird, 2 days left for the early bird, final day to take advantage of the early bird. Rates go up, and say what they're going to go up. For my Unplugged event, they go up at least $100. That's the incentive. They want to come, get off the fence, people, because that's what you need to do. You want bodies, or you want your seats, if they're online, taken. Because even if people sign up online, here's the deal, they expect you to record it. And most people can't attend or won't attend when a live event goes off. It may be just bloody inconvenient. So they expect to get a live recording. Of course you're going to do that, but you're going to put a window on it. And it's only going to be available for 3 days, and then it goes unavailable. So you push to do that. And typically, if you get 30% of the people who register for an online event, like a webinar on that, that's fairly typical. That what we see. I mean, we've had some higher numbers before, but that is what we see in that process. Okay? So we have all that going on. All right. Now, as we move this, that I want to make sure you do not ever forget the social media is critical. This is where your town hall shout out goes. And as I said, that for, when I get up to I'm doing it heavy by social media, but I also do a special email to my captured emails that I have do the countdown. And as I said, 3 days, in 2 days, in 1 day, bang, it's off. On your event tab, you better be carrying this on your website. If you don't have an events tab, please create one now. And you'll have a special page for each event. And then you're going to have all the critical data. Make sure you use images. I use images on all this stuff. Design some, have some special ones made. And that show the date that it's going to change over. And then when the date changes over, that's it on that. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to set a budget. It's always a good idea. What's your budget? That if you have costs, and I don't care everything has a cost. Your time is a cost, but you may be producing handouts that you want to get out to people. There's, if you're doing it virtually, you can email it out, but there's still a cost. Are you going to have someone who is assisting you and helping you in this? There's a cost to that person in that. And so I think you need to start putting a deal on it so you can recognize what your cost is and figure out what kind of return. If you do live events like I do, then there is going to be a food cost, and it's always a big cost. The extravaganza is a 5-figure cost and the food that gets created. So I've got to make sure that there are people there and money's coming in that cover those items because you're going to have to pay for it. All right. So you bring that into that. You want to really think closely about that. And so do a mini P&L and add to it. And if you're using an outside facility, that there are things that are negotiable. Let me tell you, coffee is negotiable. In California, in hotels, $90 a gallon. Oh my gosh. Up here in Denver, in some places, it's one hotel. I know they hit me for $68. I've got another hotel that I was able to negotiate it down to $38 a gallon. It's still a lot, but it sure is a heck better than $90 a gallon. So these are the kind of things that you have to look at. And you know what? You don't have to serve sodas and things on that. Go to water and ask them to complimentary infuse it, whether it's with lemon, whether it's with cucumbers. Cucumbers is really refreshing in the afternoon, by the way, that you do those kind of things. Those are free. And that's what you do. Also, for a live event, never serve a dessert with lunch. If you have a lunch menu, hold it. It's the afternoon snack. Okay, with that, we're going to take our final break, and I'm going to give you some other goodies for creating a hugely successful live event. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right. So you know what you're going to do. You've set your budget. It could be maybe a few $100s in cost. It could be many thousands of dollars in cost. That's going to tell you how many people you need. You've got a fee factor to it. Or if it's a freebie, you are absorbing the cost. Or maybe you get a sponsor. We did a few weeks ago a wonderful program with Linda Hollander on how do you get a sponsor. Go back and listen to it on the podcast. Now, sponsors are wonderful because they can pay for the whole lunch. I love that idea. They could maybe pay for all your workbooks. Now, are you going to have a workbook? I have a workbook for my Unplugged event, and I can tell you 50 workbooks cost me, and they're coil bound, and they cost me, I get a good discount. They cost me around $400. All right, so that's a cost factor. I have wall charts that people are going to be working on, doing different events, and a couple of exercises that I do. They will cost me a couple of $100 because everyone has to have them and they take them home with them. All right. So those are hard costs. I need to understand what they are. I have a paid staff member there. That's hard cost. I have to pay his salary for 3 days. All right. So I need to understand what my costs are and any AV related things. All right. Plus all the food. So you need to do that. That's part of your budget. Now, how do you turn your participants into participants before your event starts? That's what you want. How about doing this? Create a pre-survey. It can be a gold mine of info for you to include ads to your event that you haven't thought of. So I create, for my Unplugged events, I create a survey that goes out to all the participants early, about 3 weeks before the event. And I ask them a series of questions about them and of their books. So there may be things that I can use with them. I have them send me covers of their books. So I make a collage of all the book covers that are here. And there's companies like EventMobi, and that's M-O-B-I, eventmobi.com, can actually create a mobile survey and a polling tool that you can test as a free trial. I'm always a big believer in doing the free trial stuff. All right. And then, as I just mentioned, is there a sponsor that can underwrite some of your costs? Now, think about there's food, there's audio techniques, there's printed material. And as I said, that can run, it does for me, it runs into thousands. So what can you do on there? When I'm down in Mexico, we're able to use a facility that's not going to charge us for it. How cool is that? So that now I know that my primary cost will be printing of the material and it will be food for the people. And because I know that we also have Wi-Fi that we can tap in and use. So, I'm happy as a clam knowing that I've got a minimal cost. And then I just have to figure out how many bodies I need to be there that will cover the cost, including my cost of flying to Mexico. All right. So it can be, sponsorships can come in hard and soft dollars. For example, you may, for a radio show, or there could even be TV, could come in, or it could be a newspaper. Maybe your weekly throwaways. Don't forget about those. They could come in and do advertising for you. They could do a feature of you. Those are soft dollars. You could have people who may want to add some swag to the event. If you do bags, like for the extravaganza, we have name tags that there's a sponsor for. There are bags that we give, and we always use the stadium bags that you can carry into any sporting event that is approved. They're clear, they're see-through. The sponsor name is embossed on both sides of those things. So those are things that you're kind of looking for to bring about and make it happen. So sponsorship can come in and hold it in that way. So where can you get it? Who can you ask? Who's synergistic in that? Now, the next thing is you've got to build momentum. Build momentum. How do you get the buzz started about your event? You start with your blogs. You start with your social media postings. So what I would suggest you do is create what we call swipe copy and create some blogs. You can create Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Plus type postings. Think about creating Pinterest boards. Are you board going on what's going on? Tips, some of your hot tips that you can have and do that. How about creating a hashtag that might be unique to you? You can go to twubs.com. You can go to hashtags.org and actually register it and do a description in that and buy it so it's yours. So that you can, you want to definitely identify the top hashtags for your specific expertise and top and make sure that they are filtered throughout your tweets as well as at the end of a Facebook or LinkedIn or those kind of things so that they get picked up and then you want to make sure that you encourage your attendees to post out about the event pre and during it using them. In fact, it's very common. I've been into enough events where I have seen individuals put up a slide and actually give a scenario of how many that you've got going to pull it together. And that here's the line to post, and the hashtags are in there, and people copy and they leave it up there so people can copy it, and it's an automatic push. So do that. Now, number 9, actually, I've got 10 things here I'm doing. Number 9 is to have fun. I want you to have fun, and I think it's going to be exhausting, but have fun. So plan a treat for yourself when it's over, and then when your event is over, you want to post the event. And that then you want to go out and you have pictures. Get someone to take pictures and ask people to literally come about and come have share them with you, forward them to you, and then you can put them out. So, you're going to start wrapping and rolling it out after the event, they're over. Once it's over also, that I want you to do is to do, what we call the postmortem. What worked? What didn't? And do it with yourself. If you have any staff involved, with your staff. And also with, maybe you have some attendees that will give a no holds barred that you're close to. What worked? What didn't? What changes or adds are desired for your next event? And then I would also do the post survey. I mean, I've actually put out evaluations and have people fill them out. For a multi-day that people like them because they'll add to them and then just give them to us at the end. And that's lovely. We always ask permission. Can we share any of your comments on our website, which we will post up, under the Book Shepherd where I have it there, or under AuthorU if it's an AuthorU event. And that you want to maybe do a reminder. Now I can tell you that after my Unplugged event, I would go along and I'd say, let me send you this. Let me send you that. For example, all the people who attended the Unplugged event, one of my gifts for them for attending is I gave them 5,000, that's 5,000, names of libraries within the United States, separated by state with phone numbers, addresses, and emails. Now, how cool is that? I'm telling you, to buy that, it's like $800. That was my gift to everybody who attended. I also, as I was going along, that I had something would drop in and I would noodle something and I would think, oh, you know what? I did a radio show on that. You should listen to this topic. And I had someone just write down the name of the show. And then I would have that. And I had about 4 of my podcasts that I wanted them to refer to. I had a couple of blogs that I had written that had more specific information. I was talking about how to create your own bookstore on your website. And I had done both a radio show on it and I had done a couple of blogs on it. So we included that. So my follow-up, thank you for being with me over the last 3 days letter, included, as promised, here is, and I identified what they are. Here was the link to it for each one, whether it was a blog or it was a podcast at that point. And of course, I gave them also the Excel spreadsheet of the 5,000 librarians. And that they were thrilled to get that. Now, that went out within 2 days of the event because I knew some of them. We had people from 10 different states at the Unplugged event, including one coming up from Mexico. So they had that, and then it pushed it on out, and they would have that. All right. So then you start, literally planning. When is next year? Now, I can also tell you when you do an event, a live event, especially an annual type event, you've decided, okay, this baby's going to be an annual event, your live event, that I would do, and it's a face-to-face, that I would actually have a sign-up for the next year. Now, will they all sign up? No, but they'll take it home and they'll remember it. And I will tell you from our event from last year that we had this June, 70% said they're coming to the next year's. Now, is it all brand new, spanking new? No, it's not. I have a lot of repeat because things have changed, so I do updates on that. And because, as one participant said, when I spend 3 days with you, it's like with a fire hose. It is overwhelming. I get that I'm overwhelming. I get that they can't get it all, and I get that they're going to need to hear it again and again. But I always have a special section on new gizmos and gadgets for them to work with that we didn't talk about at all. And I always spend a whole day on all new information, which is always way fun. So with that, create a live event, whether you do it online, whether you do it in person, whether you do it as a few hours, an hour, a whole day, or multi-days. But create it, because what it does is it makes you an influencer. And you want to be an influencer. You want to be recognized. You want to be someone who is trusted and they can go for. That's the value of creating a live event. That's the value of doing, whether it's a webinar, whether it's doing a teleconference, whether it's doing a meetup meeting, a meetup group, whether it's doing, your own special name it event. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. Have a great week writing and publishing, and here's to your success.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week, a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take you, the author, to the next level. You'll learn tips and secrets on how to create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve book publishing success by making one very simple change in your book's journey. How to avoid the publishing predators. How to create an author and book platform that rocks. Learn how to make a living with your words and your books. Learn how to publish a book that has no regrets, and so much more. For more information, check out AuthorU.org, where authors who want to be seriously successful go. And Judith's website, thebookshepherd.com. Then join us again here next week for more. It's Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific,